Hi all. Today we are here to discuss about an important contemporary approach in the subject matter of building, modernizing and managing social contracts. The reason for doing this or the reason for this approach is only to transform the constitution for the people's good life. What are we missing in the conventional social contracts? What is the key elements and factors that has been overlooked upon in the existing social contracts of the world? To begin with, we'll simply review the statements of philosophers, the great thinkers of the world, such as starting with Hobbes, Jacques, Immanuel Kant and Rawls. They were all visualizing the social contract as a common subscription with a free will wherein people collectively surrender their free and natural rights to the procedure established by law and then confer them and these rights to be managed by a sovereign authority, either selected by a monarchy or social franchisee system. The choice of the people to surrender their rights has sprawled the theory of social contract. The natural rights is something which is inalienable, which is not transferable. It's just like a fish swimming in the sea. It can go in whichever direction it wants. No control. Now, as soon as the concept of social contract emerged into the society, there is a control exerted by the sovereign authority, and the sovereign authority is the choice of the people. We had different mechanisms for economical governance, political governance and the cultural governance. However, the principles of the governance were seamlessly monitored and managed by the rule of law. What are we covered here? We covered the justice system, the materialistic system and the pleasure system, the human pleasure system. These were all the three which were in broad sense reflecting upon all the constitutions of the world, be it the Japanese constitution, be it the Western constitutions, be it the Asian constitution, Indian constitution which is the longest. Every constitution was governing only these three aspects. The other aspect, what we have learned over a period of years, say the first constitution of the world to the latest constitution of the world till date, which is going to govern us, which is still governing us, is being seen too much materialistic. The center of the stage of the society is being materialistic in nature. Means there is a division. Means we have too many people who have lost and very less number of people who have won. The people is not put in the center stage. A careful review of every constitution of the world will set forth the view and the image which will help you understand that what the social contracts of the world had achieved till today. I would never hesitate to say that the existing social contract theory is a failure. I would never say. I am only here to say that the social contract, what we have to think today in a contemporary model, should include the concept of soul, the oneness which we are lacking. The result is the pluralistic society is missing out the core element of soul. We forget to realize quite often that we are one life which includes the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom and the human kingdom. The result for the lack of awareness or for the lack of inclusiveness in this subject matter is that we are running behind so many scientific approaches and so many subscriptions, so many agreements across the world to protect the mother nature and leave a good life to the society behind. The existing model of social contract theory allows you to only limit yourself to govern a particular generation. It does not care about the generations to come. About the generations to come, when I mean, you plant a tree today, you see a fruit getting ripe, you carry away it, you enjoy it, and the tree is gone. And for the future generation, you have nothing to leave. Is this the way we should leave the society with the existing social contract theory? Is what is my question I want to put forth. And do we need now, are we in a pressing condition today to transform the constitutions of the world to achieve a good life? What have we lost? To reframe and recap again, we are moving towards a market economy. Then gradually we have slipped. And now we are leading to a market society where the materialistic factors determine everything, every matter, every single matter of your life. The world is moving toward a dangerous situation where even your basic services like food, hygiene, education, military, your security, everything moves towards a market society. What determines the society? It is the materialistic factors, which means I would call upon you to recognize how you benefit from a materialistic factor by the grade or by the quantum whatsoever you possess to achieve a good education. A student who wants to pursue an education today or a good education today, what factors? Is it not the materialistic factor? Is it not the money which determines your education? Most of the time, I am saying, if not least of the time. Most of the occasion, for every part and walks of your life, for a good doctor, you will have to pay more. For a good consultant, you will have to pay more. Now, who made this? Is it the sovereign? Is it the people? Or is it the contract? For what you have subscribed have led the society to suffer this basic issue. Keeping in view the context, how this social contract has evolved over a period of time and changed the human lives. Now it is quite necessary that we should build the social contract by infusing morals with the factor of soul, the oneness, and you will have to shift the materialistic being the center stage of the contract with the people being put at the center stage. How do we achieve this? What do we tinker? Look at the Indian constitution or the Japanese constitution or the American constitution, which is the simplest constitution. It has only 27 articles, started with 7, then emerged to 17 and now 27 articles. The Bill of Rights, which preceded to be the first amendment to the existing constitution. What was the existing constitution? It was simply a derivative of Montesquieu theory. The sovereign power was divided into 3 categories: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. The Montesquieu theory was adopted by all the constitutions of the world. We started dividing power in order to allow the people to have a good life. Now, the authority of the power has been divided. The rulers, or the kings, or the monarchs, or the elected representatives now have a limited view before them. And you need 3 people with 3 different powers to manage a social contract. This was established. Fine. I am not here to tinker this existing subject. Later on, the fundamental rights or the Bill of Rights was introduced into the Constitution. This got replicated all across the world's Constitution. Now, in this fundamental rights, we were benevolently, in a controlled fashion, depriving the rights of the people. The free natural rights, what I mean, by a procedure established by law. Whenever a rights has to be deprived, we said, yes, there should be a procedure established by law. But what happened to the soul? What happened to the material? That was untouched in every constitution of the world. What Machiavelli and Kautilya, the Chanakya, were alarmingly crying over a period of time that this is danger, was overlooked by the entire constitutional framemakers. We have missed the key part of distributing the wealth. Finally, there was one great gentleman from India who cried for it in the form of integral humanism. He said, this wealth cannot remain, and this wealth cannot be sanctioned to be accumulated with a particular people, with a particular society. It has to be distributed. Did we achieve that in any of the world's constitution? Either in the form of communism, either in the form of socialism, or any other theories of the world, politics of the world. It was untouched. You cannot have a constitution amended with the existing principles. Therefore, my friends, this is time for us to think how to modernize the social contract and then how to manage it. When I say modernize, you have to boldly speak about the materialistic accumulation. You have to push it from the center stage and make the social contracts speak about oneness. Speak about people being at the front stage. Money should not be determining the social needs. And how do we achieve it? Only when the part of soul is being infused into the constitutions of the world. And thus, the social contracts being modernized. A preview or a precursor to this could be felt in the Indian constitution alone. All across the 195 countries of the world, we could see that in part 4 of the Indian constitution, speaking about this, the state was vested with the directive responsibility, which means it is not a fundamental right still. But the state has an obligation, not a mandatory obligation, has an obligation to see to that wealth does not get accumulated with a particular person or a particular society. As a consequence of this particular article, India experienced many laws, like the Land Ceiling Act, for example. You allow a person to hold only so much of immovable. A careful review of the Indian Constitution in the pretext of the materialistic subject matter and an attempt made by the Constitution frameworkers to think and dwell upon the distribution of wealth can be found in the part 4 as Article 39, which says the concentration of wealth is a subject matter of the state. State should be monitoring, managing and distributing the wealth, thereby preventing the concentration of the wealth in anyone's hands, either with a person or a society. But despite the attempt, I would say it is not holistic. Reason being, it is only found in part 4, which is a directive principle, and it has not been put in the center stage. Thereby, it has to be. Necessarily, the Constitution should have adopted this policy and the subject matter within the scope of part 3, which is the fundamental rights. The example I have cited, you can never see anywhere in any of the constitution across the world. Since the entire social contracts, or the so-called constitutions of the world, were so focused on the materialistic part, thereby putting it at the center stage, rather than putting the person or the people at the center stage. Therefore, it is quintessential that the materialistic focus in the social contracts or the so-called constitution has to be removed from the center stage, and the people has to be brought forth. Parallel wisdom can be seen in the works of Kautilya in his Arthashastra. He speaks about the economic excellence of a welfare state in a very nice way. This wisdom can be adopted for the modernized and contemporary constitution, what we dream. What we are here today is now to see again how to manage the constitution. We have built it, we have modernized it with the concept of putting the people to the center stage and eradicating the materialistic approach by infusing the part of soul into the constitution, the oneness into the constitution. How do you manage it now? And what is the efforts one need to take to manage the constitution, the so-called build a social contract? When I say manage, it should be sustainable over a time period and be reviewed periodically. You see, the social contracts of the world lying without tinkering, without being tinkered for time immemorial. It has been left unattended for its weakness or for its erosion over a period of time, despite it showing discrepancies to the change in time period. For example, the core concept of farming across the world has come up with so much of scientific changes. Does the existing social contracts of the world has ever thought about it? The environment and the traffic, which is the new change and challenge the human mankind. Has it been seen as a problem with the social contract? Are we managing it properly to adopt it? Now, finally, this is what I want you Philomens to think about how to manage the well-built and modernized social contract in the future with a careful review on the changes being brought about into the environment and society and social needs. Therefore, while I leave you with this thought of building the contract, building the social contract, modernizing the social contract, and managing the social contract, I also beg your attention to the present crisis, what the world is seeing with the present social contract in existence. You can see all across the world, the social contracts have created too many losses, and you can see a thin margin of people only winning, and this losing and winning in the society is being determined by the social contracts. Imagine you as a person, if you fail in your education, you are made to think that you have no good life. You as a person, if you lose in economy, you are made to think that you have lost. Is it not? Who made this? Who instilled this thought within you? Why did you lose? Or did you really lose? Is this the fundamental things which made you lose? Was the social contract, the society, or the material availability? What made you lose? Or what made someone win? The minority win, whatever, which is being celebrated, how was it achieved? Are we all on the same platform? Is it the track which was equally distanced, what we ran? Should we not think about it? Therefore, I call upon you all to contribute to this emerging issue of winning and losing in the society and addressing the issue by making attempts to modernize the contract and manage the contract in a well-mannered way to leave the society with a good life. At this juncture, I wish a happy independence to my fellow countrymen and to all others across the world to have a great future ahead. Thank you.